Have you ever felt like the ground beneath your life disappeared overnight? Like your thoughts no longer fit inside your head, and your heart is carrying a weight that doesn't even belong to you? You look around, and nothing feels real anymore. The smiles, the conversations, the routines, it all feels distant, hollow, foreign. No, you're not going crazy. You're not falling apart. You're being activated. This isn't the beginning of your end. It's the final test before your true emergence. What you're feeling is not weakness. It's not confusion. It's the signal that only the most spiritually advanced chosen ones ever encounter. The world will call it loneliness. Your past will call it punishment. But heaven knows exactly what this is. A silent summons to awaken the power that has always been inside you. In this video, I'm going to reveal a stage of the awakening that most people never reach, because it's not meant for everyone. It's brutal, it's hidden, and it only comes to those who carry something too sacred to be awakened in the open. This is the final awakening, and it starts when everything else stops. So if you felt isolated, disconnected, out of place, this message found you for a reason. You're not just evolving. You're being refined, like gold in fire, like lightning waiting to strike. Before we go any further, do this now. Like this video to honor your own journey. Subscribe if your soul has been searching for messages like this. And comment 99 below as a prophetic sign that you're completing a cycle and stepping into a higher vibration. Because once this truth hits your spirit, nothing will ever feel the same again. There comes a moment in every powerful chosen one's journey where the world suddenly stops making sense. It doesn't happen with a warning. It doesn't ask for permission. It arrives like a fog, slowly wrapping around your reality, making everything feel distant, unfamiliar, almost unreal. What once felt alive now seems artificial. The places you used to enjoy feel hollow. The people you once laughed with feel unreachable. Even your own thoughts, the ones you used to trust, begin to shift in tone, as if they no longer belong to the old version of you. This is not coincidence. This is the void. And the void is sacred. It's not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. See, most people spend their lives clinging to false structures. They find identity in roles, comfort in noise, meaning in external validation. But when the final awakening is initiated in you, all of that is stripped away. Not because you're losing yourself, but because you're finally being shown who you really are, beneath the layers of programming, expectations, and inherited trauma. And the first step is silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that echoes, that stares back at you, that forces you to sit with emotions you've been outrunning your whole life. You'll try to distract yourself. You'll try to reattach to the things that used to bring comfort, but nothing will feel the same. Music won't soothe you. Movies won't move you. Conversations will feel forced. Your own dreams might begin to feel foreign. That's when it hits. I don't know who I am anymore. But here's the truth. That feeling isn't death. It's birth. The void is not empty. It's full of unspoken instructions. It's where God begins to rewire your senses, where heaven silences the world to amplify your spirit. And yes, it feels lonely, because this is a journey of unbecoming before you can truly become. During this phase, you might ask, why did I lose interest in things I used to love? Why do I feel like I'm floating between two worlds? Why am I suddenly questioning everything, even myself? Because the you that loved those things no longer exists. Because you're being pulled out of survival and into alignment. It's not spiritual confusion. It's a sacred disconnection from the artificial, so the authentic can rise. And here's the twist. The void is intelligent. It's not random. It activates in those whose spirits are too loud to stay asleep. If you feel like your soul is being pulled into some kind of cocoon, you're right. But this cocoon isn't here to protect you from the world. It's here to protect the world from seeing you too soon. Because when you emerge, you'll carry a frequency that breaks illusions just by entering a room. The void doesn't take away your fire. It distills it so that when you return, you won't burn from the inside out. You'll burn with purpose. But here's what almost no one talks about. Right before the void releases you, the discomfort peaks. The silence grows heavier. You'll feel like giving up. That's how you know you're close. Because the moment just before your next level always feels like complete disorientation. So if you're feeling lost right now, confused, disconnected, good. It means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And what's waiting for you on the other side of this void is not the life you had before. It's the life you were always meant to lead. But first, the illusions must collapse. Because only in the ruins can the true architecture of your purpose begin to rise. And speaking of ruins, what if the things that are falling apart right now are not accidents, but invitations? We'll get to that in the next part. But just know this. The void may feel like the end, but it's actually the throne room where your soul meets its true design, and everything changes forever. What if I told you your body knows the truth, long before your mind can understand it? You wake up drained, not just tired, but as if you've run a spiritual marathon in your sleep. Your bones ache, your head pulses, your skin feels electric. Your heartbeat skips like it's tuning into something invisible. You try to explain it, to rationalize it. You Google symptoms. You visit doctors. You take blood tests, vitamins, even consider you're imagining things. But everything comes back normal. And that's when fear creeps in. Am I making this up? Is something seriously wrong with me? Let me be clear. You are not broken. You're being rebuilt. These unexplainable physical sensations, they are not random. They are not medical mysteries. They are evidence of the most profound transformation your body will ever go through. A spiritual recoding, a cellular awakening. A sacred upgrade that only the most spiritually attuned chosen ones are designed to survive. Because you are not just awakening mentally, you're awakening on a cellular level. Let me explain. When your soul begins to operate at a higher frequency, your physical vessel must catch up. And that process is messy, intense, painful, because your nervous system is being stretched, your energy centers are being blasted open, your DNA is responding to a divine call it hasn't heard in lifetimes. And just like a computer needs to reboot to install a new operating system, your body enters a state of energetic chaos to prepare for this divine data. That's why your heart races without cause. You get chills for no reason. Your sleep becomes irregular. You feel waves of heat, pressure, or vibration. These are not symptoms of illness. They are signs of alignment. Because truth has weight, and your body is adjusting to carry more of it. Many chosen ones report what science cannot yet explain. Hearing high-pitched frequencies, feeling tingling in the crown of the head or spine, moments of dizziness when around certain people or places, random bursts of euphoria, followed by emotional crashes. Why? Because you are no longer running on the old system. You are becoming multidimensional, and with that comes spiritual growing pains. Think of it this way. A child's bones ache when they stretch. Muscles tear to grow stronger. And when a caterpillar transforms, its entire body liquefies inside the cocoon before becoming a butterfly. That's what's happening to you. But in the unseen layers of your being, you are liquefying the old programming, dissolving trauma from generations past, clearing energetic residue not just from your life, but from your bloodline. Because when you were chosen, you weren't just selected for your strength. You were built to carry legacy, light, and a vibration that heals others simply through presence. And so, the purge began. But here's the part they never tell you. Right before a major spiritual activation, your body will rebel. Why? Because the ego lives in the body. And when your soul starts to rise, the ego panics. It sends signals of fatigue, fear, and confusion. It tries to pull you back into patterns that feel familiar, even if they were painful. And this is where many give up. They go back to the old life, to the comfort of numbness, because the pain of transformation feels too heavy to carry alone. But you're not alone. If you're watching this, if these words are igniting something deep in your cells, then you're one of the few strong enough to stay in the fire until the fire becomes you. Because the pressure in your body is not random. It's the weight of divine energy trying to make a home in a physical vessel that was never designed to hold so much light until now. And when that light fully integrates, you won't just feel better. You'll feel different, sharper, calmer, cleaner. Your body isn't just surviving, but channeling something greater. And that shift is coming. But before it does, the storm must complete its circuit. And if you've made it this far, you're already in the center of that storm. But what if I told you? Some of the emotions you're processing right now don't even belong to you. What if the pain you've been carrying was never yours to hold in the first place? Stay with me, because what's coming next will change the way you see your role in this awakening forever. There's a moment in the final awakening where the weight you're carrying becomes too heavy. But strangely, when you try to identify what's actually yours, nothing fits. You're not just tired, you're heavy. You're not just anxious, you're flooded. You're not just confused, you're clouded by signals that don't originate inside you. Welcome to one of the most disorienting and least talked about stages of divine transformation, energetic absorption. Because here's the truth. You're not just waking up to your purpose, you're waking up to your power. And with that power comes sensitivity. And with that sensitivity comes spiritual responsibility. Chosen ones are not like everyone else. Your energy field was designed to filter, transmute, and cleanse, not just for yourself, but for those around you. This means you might walk into a room and instantly feel sick, anxious, or sad. You talk to someone for 5 minutes, and suddenly, their depression is echoing inside your chest. You go to sleep fine and wake up carrying panic that isn't even yours. That's not weakness. It's not emotional instability. It's a sign that your spirit has become so attuned. It can feel the vibrations of others before they've even spoken them. But here's the danger. If you don't know how to discern what's yours from what's not, you'll drown in other people's pain, thinking it's your own. And this is exactly what the final awakening is designed to teach you. Because until you master this, you'll be controlled by energy you never agreed to carry. So how does it work? As your vibration rises, your aura expands. That means you begin to pick up data, not just emotionally, but spiritually. The thoughts, wounds, and suppressed energies of others start showing up in your body like static interference. And here's the shocking part. You may even start taking on roles that aren't meant for you. You feel the urge to fix people, to rescue, to absorb, to heal. But let me say this clearly. Just because you can carry it doesn't mean you should. The final awakening requires you to draw a sacred line between what's yours to transform and what's meant to return to sender. Because emotional empathy is a gift, but energetic sovereignty is the mastery. How do you reclaim that sovereignty? First, you ask a brutal but necessary question. What am I feeling right now? And is it even mine? This one question can unravel months of confusion. You'll start to realize that 80% of your inner chaos isn't even generated by your own soul, but by entanglements you never consented to. Second, you release. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in awareness. You speak to your energy like a commander. I return anything that is not mine. I revoke permission for foreign frequencies to live in me. What is not mine must go. And when you do this consistently, something miraculous happens. The fog begins to lift. The pain lessens. Your inner voice becomes louder than the noise around you, because finally you're hearing you. And that clarity, that inner resonance, it becomes your greatest spiritual weapon, because now you're no longer reacting to the collective's trauma. You're choosing what enters your space and what doesn't. And that kind of power, it creates ripples, it commands peace, it dismantles manipulation. Because once you recognize what was never yours to carry, you stop apologizing for laying it down. You stop shrinking for others' comfort. You stop absorbing guilt, shame, or fear that doesn't originate from your divine core. And here's the beautiful twist. As you return what isn't yours, you reclaim what was, but was buried under energetic noise. Your intuition sharpens. Your dreams become messages instead of confusion. Your decisions become faster, cleaner, aligned. You're no longer trying to decode the chaos of others. You're finally amplifying the frequency of you. And that is the mark of a spiritually mature chosen one. But this stage, as liberating as it is, leads directly into another test. What happens when the people closest to you start fading away? Not because you stopped loving them, but because they were feeding off the energy you just reclaimed? That's where we're going next. And trust me, what you'll discover there will shake the very foundation of what you thought love, loyalty, and alignment meant. You didn't push them away. Let's start there. Because in this part of your awakening, the guilt tries to creep in. The voices in your head whisper, "Why don't I feel connected anymore? Why are they distancing themselves from me? Did I do something wrong?" But the truth is, you didn't leave them. They simply can't follow you where you're going. There comes a moment in the final awakening when the universe, in divine precision, begins to strip away your comfort zones, not to hurt you, but to hollow out the space you'll need for the next version of yourself. And so the isolation begins. First, it's subtle. You start feeling out of sync with certain conversations. The things that once entertained you feel meaningless. People you used to talk to every day begin to fade, not with drama, but with distance. Then it gets louder. Phone calls stop. Texts go unanswered. You show up in rooms where you once felt seen, and now feel invisible. And the deepest cut, even the people you love the most, start to feel like strangers. This isn't punishment. This isn't abandonment. This is refinement. Because when God begins to elevate you, He removes the noise that would sabotage your clarity. He silences the rooms that echo with your old identity, so that you stop bending to be understood and start standing to be revealed. You are not losing people. You are losing layers of validation, layers of codependence, layers of noise that once drowned out the whisper of your calling. Let this settle deep. Isolation is not rejection. It's incubation, like a seed buried beneath the soil, cut off from the light, the air, and the world above. But under that weight, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming. Alignment is anchoring. Power is being pressed into your bones. This is when the transformation becomes internal, unseen to the world, but undeniable in the spirit. Because when you're no longer available to distractions, you become dangerously focused. You stop seeking connection with what once validated you, and start connecting with what now activates you. But make no mistake, it will feel brutal. There will be days you crave community, moments where the silence feels like suffocation, nights where your tears feel like prayers falling on deaf ears. But in those exact moments, heaven is the closest. Because God does His deepest work in hidden places. Ask any prophet, ask any visionary, ask any chosen one who's been through the fire. They'll all tell you, the breakthrough never arrives while you're surrounded. It arrives when you've been stripped, cut, buried, forgotten by man, but held tightly by the hand of the divine. And here's the mystery. When you finally get comfortable in the isolation, when you stop begging to be seen, when you accept that the quiet is your classroom, the silence begins to speak. You start hearing your intuition louder than ever. Ideas flow without effort. Visions return. You become your own sanctuary, no longer needing others to remind you who you are. Because now, you remember. And when the world finally sees you again, they won't recognize you, because you'll have grown in ways only the sacred dark could produce. But this sacred isolation comes with a test. Will you run back to comfort or stay rooted in your calling? Because not everyone will understand the new you. Some will question it, some will mock it, some will try to drag you back into the version of yourself they're more comfortable with. That's not your burden, that's their limitation. And your job now isn't to explain, it's to evolve, because something is coming. A moment when everything you've endured in the dark will finally be needed in the light. And only those who stayed faithful in the silence will be able to carry what's about to be revealed. And speaking of revelation, what if I told you that everything you've survived up until this point has been preparing you for one final shift? A shift that doesn't just change your environment, but rewrites your entire energetic signature. Stay with me, because what comes next is the moment pain turns to purpose and silence becomes strategy. It happens quietly. No lightning, no fireworks, no grand announcement, just a moment. You wake up one day and something feels different. Not everything is fixed. Not everything is perfect. But you're no longer drowning. The weight that once sat on your chest like a stone, it's still there. But it doesn't crush you anymore. The thoughts that used to spiral uncontrollably, they still come, but they no longer run the show. Your body feels lighter. Your breath deeper. Your mind quieter. This is not an illusion. This is the shift. The shift isn't something you force. It's something that arrives only after you've endured the fire without losing your soul. It's the divine reward for staying in the silence, for not abandoning yourself when the light disappeared, for showing up to the battlefield within, again and again, without applause, without witnesses, without rescue. The shift is when everything you went through suddenly starts to mean something. That heartbreak, it wasn't senseless. It opened your heart in a way love never could. That betrayal, it wasn't cruelty. It shattered your illusions so you could build truth. That isolation, it wasn't abandonment. It was a holy space where God could recalibrate your spirit. And now, the dots connect. The heaviness lifts, the fog clears, and what once looked like destruction now looks like design. But the most powerful part of the shift isn't what changes around you, it's what changes within you. You no longer react, you respond with clarity. You no longer absorb the pain of others, you transmute it effortlessly. You no longer beg the world to understand your journey, because you finally understand it yourself. This is where alchemy begins. You start recognizing that every emotional wound you carried wasn't just something to heal. It was a portal, a spiritual gateway, an assignment. And the more pain you carried, the more purpose you unlock. Now, your body doesn't just function, it flows. Your intuition sharpens, synchronicities increase. People you've never met are drawn to your energy. They feel safer around you, calmer, lighter, braver. Why? Because you've become a lighthouse. Your suffering became the oil in your lamp. Your scars became stars in the night. Your darkness became direction. And without realizing it, you've shifted from the one searching for answers to the one carrying them. But let's go deeper. The shift also brings tests, but they look different now. The chaos doesn't disappear. You've just become immune to it. Not numb, centered. You don't need to escape life anymore. Because now, life doesn't threaten your peace. You've stopped reacting to energy. Now you regulate it. You don't chase alignment, you embody it. And from this place, you begin to make moves that scare your past self. You walk away without explanation. You speak truths that make the room uncomfortable. You protect your energy with unapologetic grace. You choose solitude over compromise. You no longer shrink. Because power, real power, doesn't yell. It vibrates. And that vibration, it's now part of you. But here's where it gets sacred. The shift doesn't just give you peace, it gives you vision. You begin to see patterns in people's words, truth in silence, lies wrapped in charm. You start to feel what others cannot yet name, because you've been to the edge of your own darkness and came back with light. And that light is what you carry now. It's not the light of perfection, it's the light of presence. You no longer ask, why did this happen to me? Now, you ask, how can I use this to lift others who are still in the dark I survived? This is the sacred turning point where pain becomes power, where survival becomes service, where the awakened become activators. But here's the most beautiful part of all. The shift doesn't end your journey. It begins your mission. Because everything up until now was preparation, initiation, excavation. The fire made space. The silence tuned your ear. The solitude sharpened your discernment. And now, finally, you're ready to walk in a frequency that this world rarely sees, one that doesn't demand attention, but commands respect. But before you step fully into that calling, there's one final realization, one truth that seals the entire awakening process. A final word that ties every phase together with divine clarity. And once you hear it, you'll never see your life or your path the same again. Stay with me. The final revelation is coming. If you made it this far, it wasn't by chance. You felt it. From the very first word, something inside you awakened. You are not just another one. You are not ordinary. You are one of the few, one of the rare, one of the spiritually marked. You didn't come to this earth to fit in. You came to shake it. You came to remind others of what they themselves have forgotten. And your pain wasn't a mistake. It was a divine training. Everything you lost, everything that hurt, everything that broke, was God preparing you for this exact moment. You're no longer asleep. You're no longer a victim. You're no longer on pause. You are in launch mode. And what you carry inside can no longer be contained. This wasn't just a video. It was a spiritual activation, a key to a door that had already been waiting for you. Now listen closely. You're not here to survive. You're here to awaken others. This is not just a phase. It's your initiation, your seal, your calling. So if something inside you screamed, "This message is for me," comment below, "I'm awakening and I'm ready." Do it not for this channel. Do it as a spiritual decree. So the world knows it, so heaven registers it, so hell fears it. The final awakening has already begun, and those who mocked your silence are about to witness your ascension. Get ready, because what's coming will shake the earth, and you will be the storm.